Hi lovely friends, here's today's sneak peek. Thank you so much to the Travelling Tramps and Simply Nanette. You are the best. Thank you so much for being my members, and thank you to all my subscribers. So today we've got a reverse flower dip in metallics, and we've got the simplest palette. We've got iridescent copper, iridescent blue green and iridescent gold, along with a titanium white and a charcoal grey base, which is a mixture from a pour that I used at a demo day recently. So I collected all the paint together and I put it into one mixture after filtering it. If you're interested in how to filter your paint after a pour, I'll put a link to the video at the end of this video. So are you excited to see what happened? Let's get the base down. So I've got a nice thin layer of charcoal grey paint, and this is basically black with the other colours in this pour in a tiny amount mixed in, which just made it a bit of a charcoal or granite grey. I like to have the consistency of my pillow paint nice and thin, sometimes a little bit thinner than the paints on top, so that they help the flow of the paint but not too thin, especially with metallics, because you don't want it to sink and lose the colour and its vibrancy. So it's a bit of a balance. So getting rid of the air bubbles. I know today there will be a few little cells popping up because when you use metallics they naturally create cells. So I'm just going to show you today how I layer the paints and what I do with them in this beautiful reverse flower dip. Now this was originally done by Fiona Art, and I got the stamen idea from Fiona's Creative Canvas. So please do check out their canvas and give them some love. They're amazing artists. So we're going down with copper first. I really wanted copper to be the star of the show today, and gold to help tease it out and to highlight it. And it's just a beautiful dense colour. I can see it sinking into the paint nicely but not completely disappearing. And I'm noticing that this base is a fairly thin base, so I'm putting a little bit more copper and a little bit gold on top. These are very good quality paints, so they've got high viscosity and they're very dense as well, so it's going to be so exciting seeing how they turn out. So put a nice bit of gold on top of the copper there, and now we're going for one of my favourite colours. I say this a lot. It's mostly to do with blues and pinks, I think. Well, actually loads of colours. So now we're going to go with titanium white as a little bit of a layering between the copper and gold and this gorgeous colour that I'm going to add in a moment. Once I've dripped the white nicely down, all the way down to the bottom, and just leaving it there now, just to notice when the white then mixes in on top of the gold. So here it is, that beautiful iridescent blue-green by Pebeo. All the details of the paints and the pouring medium will be in the description. What do you think about the colours of the paint as it drips down? It's beautiful, isn't it? So this is the layering. I'm going back on top now and I'm going to put copper down, and as I layer, it's an intuitive thing and it's about personal preference. There's going to be a lot of copper in this one, and it's going to be a copper flower almost, and the other colours are going to be more highlighters rather than showing as a big colour. So it depends on what you would like as your predominant colour. So now I've got a bit of gold on, and what I'm going to do in a second is pick the cup up and move it just in between these colours here. Once I'm happy that enough of the paint has dripped down and it's going to form a nice petal, because what we're doing really here is we're creating a petal as the paint drops down. One more little bit of blue, and then I'm going to pick up the bottle bottom and move it to one side and repeat. So I'll come back shortly once I've done that, just enjoy some music and I will show you the next stage when I come back. I'm almost too excited to wait, but we're going to have to wait because we're going to have to see the process and relax. So you can see now I'm just adding white in the middle. It depends on what you'd like the colour in the centre to have as an effect. And I'm doing a bit more copper because because I can see that I end up putting a lot of gold in there, and I really wanted copper to be the star of the show. So now I've finished layering the paints in the centre of the flower, and this is going to affect how much space there is in the centre. So depending on the size of your bottom depends on the shape and the size of the centre bit there. So I'm just going to finish putting down the rest of the pillow paint around the flower, and then I'm going to use my cocktail stick to make some little patterns in those petals. So I'm really carefully layering the paint to make sure that it's covering it completely. It's a really good paint and it covers the entire canvas, but I just wanted to make sure as I was pouring just how much it was settling on the canvas. There's nothing worse than coming back and seeing the canvas was painted with a paint that was a bit too thin. One way of getting around that is if you paint just straight on with a brush the sides and just in a bit on the canvas, so perhaps an inch inwards. That gives a good base, and also it allows the paint to be fully coloured, so you have no opaqueness and it will just be one colour, or just be a full colour. It won't be transparent at all. So just getting rid of the air bubbles, and now I've got my pre-dampened kitchen towel. I'm layering it gently on top, and a lot of the time when people see this they say, oh no, you're ruining a lovely pattern, but it's part of the process and it's okay. So I'm just using my fingers to really lightly pat it down on top of the flower. You can see the size of the kitchen towel is just big enough to cover that canvas. So picking up the four corners really gently, being careful not to suddenly pick it up. Can you see a bit sneaky in the side there? So that's okay, but it will affect the way that the flower goes. So the key is to keep central and pick it up gently. And sometimes a bit of a twist is quite good. So there's a big gap in the middle, and that's where I'm going to put my stamens. So I'm going to spin this out and I'll come back shortly as I begin to add the stamens. I've also got a secret tool that I'm using to create more of a pattern on the petals as well. And there's my secret tool. It's a little butterfly. You can use anything that has any form of imprint in it, and you can see if you look underneath how it's been bent into shape, so it just curves really nicely around the shape that you're wanting to create something with. So I'm just going around intuitively, just pressing it in gently. And what happens is this creates air bubbles in a certain pattern, and then I use my blowtorch and I blow those air bubbles out, and then the pattern is created. So enjoy this part of the process, and I'll spin a little bit more, and then we can add some stamens. And here we are. So I'm using a cocktail stick, dipping it in the titanium white, and just putting little dots where I feel they could make a nice pattern. And I'm going with the shape of this flower, so I'll be using the cocktail stick to gently bring the stamens down, just to give it that authentic look. Can you see how it's forming now? Enjoy the process, and I'll be back towards the end. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this metallic reverse flower dip today with copper as the star of the show, but you can see that blue looks pretty good too, and the gold and copper have reacted so nicely together, and the blue. Thank you for being here today. I'd love to know if you can think of any colours you'd like me to use with the reverse flower dip or any of my pours. I can't wait to see what you've been creating. It excites me so much and I get inspired so often. Thank you for being here. I hope to see you again soon. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do so and leave me a comment. I love hearing from you. When you subscribe, you help my channel grow and it's completely free to do so. So if you do like what you see, I'd really appreciate it. Don't forget that your art is a very special part of you. Thank you for being here today. I hope to see you soon. Bye.